Assalamualaikum and good morning. Today, I would like to present about government administration, the concept of power separation in Malaysia. So, let me start with introduction. Malaysia is a country that adopts a system of parliamentary democracy. Malaysia also adopts the concept of separation of power in its government administration. Montesquieu 1784 stated that the secret of freedom of the British lies in the separation of power by isolating the function of the three bodies, which are indeed the ideals and aspiration of the people. The separation of power in Malaysia is divided into three main bodies, namely legislative, executive and judiciary. However, each body is controlled by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong because the YDPA has power over each body. The system of separated power was introduced in Malaysia starting from the arrival of Western colonial in Malaya. The British were bound by a coercive agreement to accept the British resident as an advisor. As a result, the adoption of this power separation system was finally practiced in Malaysia after achieving independence. Ranjit Singh Malhi 2000 explained the idea of division of power between the legislative, executive and judiciary should be implemented by different people. So, let me move to the next slide, that is legislative power. Federal Constitution Article 44 stated that the federal legislative power lies in the power of Parliament consisting of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong and two council known as Dewan Negara and Dewan Rakyat. The Dewan Rakyat has 222 seats representing the parliamentary election constituency. This is because the member of the council will be appointed through the election process by the people. Members of the Dewan Rakyat also have the power to amend the law as well as making decisions in the financial law. Meanwhile, in contrast to the third component in the legislative power, that is Dewan Negara Council, its membership is appointed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong and each member is given the title of senator. However, the number of members is less than the number of members in Dewan Rakyat, which is 70 members only. So, I will explain the function of Dewan Rakyat and Dewan Negara. The Dewan Rakyat and Dewan Negara have a different function. Among the function and role of Dewan Rakyat is to amend and enact bill in the country and pass law involving the country. The Dewan Rakyat also serve as an official forum to enable every government's policy to be debated. Financial affair law can only be enacted by House of Representatives. The Dewan Rakyat also has a role to present problems related to people. Next, the Dewan Negara has the role of debating bills passed by the Dewan Rakyat carefully. It also serves as the body that reviewed a bill made by Dewan Rakyat. Apart from that, the Dewan Negara also acts as a body that has the right to ask the Dewan Rakyat to review a bill made by the Dewan Rakyat. The Dewan Negara also serves to discuss matters of public interest. So, let's move to the next section that is the bills becomes a law. First of all, the bills will go to House of Representatives and the first reading held. First reading is reading of the long title only. Next, we'll go to second reading, that is general principle of the bill are debated. After that, the bills will go to committee stage, which is specific debate on the clause, schedule and preambles will take place. Amendments will be discussed. After that, third reading, voting for second time, long title will be read again and passed by the House of Representatives to Senate. In Senate, first reading of the long title only. After that, second reading held. General principle of the bill are debated. Voting is made by simple majority with voice or block voting. After that, committee stage. In committee stage, specific debate on all clauses, schedule and preambles will take place. Amendments will be discussed. After that, third reading, voting for second time. Long title will be read again and passed by the House of Representatives. After that, royal assent. Then gazetted and printed. After that, the law will implement. So let me move to the next slide. That is the cabinet or executive power. The cabinet is made up of the prime minister and other ministers. Furthermore, the cabinet also acts as executive power of the federal government on behalf of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong and collectively responsible to parliament that the cabinet member responsible for any decision making. The task of the cabinet is to govern the country according to the jurisdictions of the federal list, formulate government policies, address any emergency problem involving the country and the people, and formulate a coordination policy aimed at building an efficient and effective government. Second, the bodies involved in governance are the commissions, department, public corporation and ministry. Next, at the state level, there is the State Cabinet Council, which act as the governing bodies at the state levels. In addition, the last governing bodies is the local government level, which is the administrator at the district, mukim or village level, known as the local government. Now we move to the final part in separation of power, that is judiciary. So we move to judiciary power. Muhammad Aris Osman, 1983, independence of the judiciary as well as dividing the difference between democracy or totalitarian government works. The judiciary has the freedom to act on the basis of the provisions and richness in the federal constitution to ensure the transparency in the judicial system. Judges cannot be appointed among politicians. Abdul Aziz Baru 2003 argued that judges should be free-minded, efficient, and firm in sentencing any person found guilty. In fact, the most important features is the doctrine of separation of power is the independence of the judiciary. Federal Constitution Article 125, Bracket 1. Judges cannot to be removed from the office by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong before reaching retirement age at 65. Federal Constitution Article 125, Bracket 3. If there is a conduct of a judge that is not good or incompetent due to weakness of body or mind or any other reason, with the recommendation of a tribunal consisting of 5 judges. Federal Constitution Article 125, Bracket 4. The remunerations of the judges provided by Parliament Act and such remunerations shall be paid by the consolidated fund because a judge is eligible to receive a pension. So we move to the Malaysian court hierarchy. The jurisdiction of the court is as the executive body of the judiciary. In addition, the court also has the power to interpret the law and declare the written law of the federal government and state government. In fact, the court also has the power to declare that a government action is illegal and cannot be amended. The court system is also arranged according to the hierarchy of the pyramid. Therefore, every individual who is dissatisfied with the court decision can appeal to a higher court. The hierarchy of the court is shown in the figure below. Among the jurisdiction of the federal court is to approve the bill enacted by Parliament or state legislature. Meanwhile, the jurisdiction of the High Court is to cover all cases involving the death penalty. The High Court also has jurisdiction over the Law Court. Next, the lower court consists of two parts, namely Sections Court and the Magistrate Court. The jurisdiction of the Section Court include all cases involving the death penalties and a fine of between 2,000, 25,000 to 100,000, while Magistrates Court include the power for all type of offence provided for imprisonment of less than 5 years and a fine of 10,000 ringgit. In conclusion, the result of the study found that the political system in Malaysia does not fully practice the doctrine of separation of power. This is because Malaysians practice a combination of power between executive body and legislative body. As we know, in the legislative, there are two types of house, namely Dewan Rakyat and Dewan Negara. Therefore, the member of the Dewan Rakyat also responsible for enacting law. However, the member of the Dewan Rakyat consists of the executive body which carried out its duty in the administration of the country. Only the judiciary is separate from the two body. In addition, the judiciary has the freedom to act in accordance with the provisions set by the Federal Constitution. The independence of judiciary is especially important in order to ensure justice, and there are no external influences that influence the decision of the judiciary in sentencing. So that's all from me. Assalamualaikum.